Built this frame and I put the hardwood cloth around it. It's got a lid, it's all real simple, just enough materials. It's got a couple dishes in there, and those are gonna be feeders for a rooster. A black Jersey giant rooster is gonna come in here. He's gonna wear his crow collar and he's going to hang out in here because I can't have him outside. I don't want anyone in the neighborhood to know that there's a rooster here. He will be fine indoors, and I want him as backup redundancy to just in case I need to hatch out my own eggs. So he's going to be my indoor rooster. This is to reinforce the front door. It keeps any of the thugs or the jackboots from kicking it in. This is Operation Quiet Feather. This is where I'm going to have my black Jersey giant. He's my rooster. This here is a roll of hardware cloth. It's a 10-foot roll by 30 inches. And it's going to wrap around, it's enough to wrap around this, all four sides of this cage here that I've just built a frame for. And I want to have two of these. And one of these at least I will put in a milk crate nest box where a hen or two, if I had a couple hens in one of these, say things got rough in the world and I had to bring some birds inside, I could put a couple in one of these and then put a rooster in the other and introduce them or mix them, and then have the nest box so that the hens can get up in there and lay some eggs and even go broody in these things. So it's kind of like a stealth means to keeping some birds. I've got this straw and the leaf litter that I pulled even from outside, so this is reused from out there, and that's under there to catch any droppings that'll drop through this 1-inch square hardware cloth down here at the base. This here is like inch by half-inch, more rectangle. And then simple keychain clips that I bought a box of, and they work really good for stuff, and they're holding the door here. And then this is just more of the hardware cloth, and it clips and latches here. The trays in there are zipped up and screwed in to hold them sturdy along the side to have the water and the feed. Here right now for the feed on this side, I'm actually going to be putting this piece of hardware cloth over it, and that's going to stop the chicken, the rooster, from flicking the feed and wasting the feed and it dropping down onto the floor. Don't want to waste any, just let him pick in at it, and that'll be better than him licking it, because chickens like to flick their feed. It's 30 inches by 30 inches, all the same, and then it's got extension for the legs on the 2x4s. It's all 2x4s. Real simple staples. And the plastic on the floor I put down, so that way, you know, keeps it clean, and when I clean that up I can even get down there and wash it off to get it extra clean. Motto that I'm living by now, where I'm getting back to the holistic way of and getting rid of all things plastic. So it's like the idea of getting rid of all things that don't serve me. I think that's like a biblical phrase, maybe. Feels like it. You know, like the things that don't serve your operation and your regenerative nature. You got to get rid of them. Figure there's a volcanic winter or a nuke goes off and you can't leave your house. Well, you have to already be sealed up, zipped up with plastic, tape all your windows, all your doors, all the seams, bury all the basement windows, prep a basement room if you got a basement. I do. Hopefully you do. And I'm prepping it. I'm gonna get sandbags, but all this stuff takes time to, you know, to build. And then you got to get things like waste buckets set up. You got to have water filtration, drums full of water, food, way to cook food sustainably down there. So you got to bug in for months. So that's a whole adventure right there alone, getting all of that ready. The other thing is, what if you got to grow food, and what if you can, and it's not as bad as nuclear winter, but it's more like volcanic winter, where I got to grow in a greenhouse and there's ash falling, so I got to protect the crops from that, and there's not much light, and I got to have crops that grow well without light. And I looked up what are plants that grow in caves, nutrient dense things. I'm still looking into it. I just started looking up that topic. And cave fish in general, so things like get your vitamin D, gotta get that. So that's something like the ant people had to probably have, you know, cave fish down there. That's probably something that's going on, and they're next to volcanic hot spots in the earth. But that whole adventure into preparing and being ready, already living this way with no grid, no tech. Check this zucchini. So the zucchini has a flower too, and the flower is edible. I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat it like an ice cream cone. I planted in here, this is a lid of a bin, just a plastic bin, and I flipped it upside down and it's got a little bit of a lip on it. I filled it, there's about an inch of soil in there, potting mix. And I have broccoli sprouts in there, so I'm gonna get the sulforaphane nutrients of the broccoli, and I have whole beans sprouting up. So in each cell there's 2 seeds, and they all pretty much germinated, and I picked the one that would look the weakest to thin them, and I collected those little tops, those little sprouts, and I actually ate them. So I ate them for myself, and it got me thinking, you know, if you do that and you plant a couple seeds, don't just toss them in the compost, eat them. Eat them if you're going to be thinning them, and think that that's really like a microgreen for you. And that's what I did, and that's what I'm doing here with the broccoli sprouts, microgreens. I figured this was a clever way to lay it out on the floor, and I can water it just the same way when I water everything else in here, and then it will stay damp enough to germinate them for sure, and they'll come in strong, and then I'll eat those. So I'm gonna pick some greens, and I got 1 strawberry that was on there that I took and ate already, and then this guy here, that's gonna be great. There's another one coming in right there for a couple days from now. It's like they're giving me, this zucchini plant is giving me, really this is a few inch fruit by about an inch right now. I could let it go for another day or two, it'd probably double in size, but I'm gonna eat it now because I got another one coming there. And then I got 2 more zucchini seed starts coming up right now that I'm gonna get in the pots in here too, because the zucchini is abundant, this gray zucchini. And as these leaves are growing out, I'm trimming and pruning it away, the biggest ones, and the zucchini plant leaves can be fed to the rabbits, and they actually really like them. So it's really cool because I can prune this at just the right size and get the rabbits the leaves, and the cucumbers leaves, and the squash, and the watermelon, and the bean plants, and the strawberries. All that's for the rabbits, and I'm sure the chickens. So everything has a regenerative nature. The avocado and the peppers and the tomatoes, and I've learned that those are toxic, so those don't get fed. Those go in the compost. 3 spots here opened up in this pot. I gotta get these seed sprouts over here from my No Way seed starting method. It's got scarlet kale. One of them popped up. I don't know what's going, why they're not coming up quickly like the others did here, but that's okay, they'll probably still come up. Swiss chard witties, there's a few of those, I gotta get those, I really like those. And then a turnip shogoin, I got a few of those. I'll probably thin that a bit and then pick out the nicest ones, and I'll even eat those as microgreens. Broccoli sprouts will likely take soon and come on up. They'll be great, and that's a good way I'm gonna do this, with maybe even another one. Holes on the bottom, 16 holes on the side, and 6 1-inch holes at the top. These are 1 quart. with the maggot buckets, when I build them as I go here, I'm going to be building like 10 of them probably and hanging them. So they'll hang above the chickens, just above them, so that the maggots can drop out of the bucket holes and down to the chickens. Maybe even keep them at the chicken's head height so they can even peck at it and get the maggots off of the bucket. I'm going to even try to decorate it in maybe like a camo cloth and just cut out around the holes so it doesn't look as bad and it's more symbiotic. Just got this light from my neighbor. It's a good one. It's pretty big, say 4 feet is the size of the bulbs, and it's probably 2 feet in the other direction. And I'm going to be putting it in here in the kitchen grow room. I'm going to move my rabbits that are in here right now and into these pots, and then take this light down, and I'm going to put this light somewhere else. I was thinking even growing food under in this cupboard, so perhaps I'll put it in there. I'll put my seeds from in this grow room back here, where, well, I have this set up for the seeds for now. And I have Mama Rabbit in here with her babies. Seeds on the floor. I'm organizing in here to just put this here temporary. And I'll do seeds under this too. They're in budding right now. I got more cannabis seeds I ordered from gelatoseeds.com. And they sent them in these little capsules. And they're cool. With me and my neighbors, we split the bill on like 25 seeds, so we all have them. And 6, I'm gonna be putting 6 in the yard, so I'm gonna save some. I'm not gonna do the full 12, which I could do. I'm just gonna put 6 out there because they take up space and they take time to really work on in the fall to harvest and all that, and I don't need that many, so the seeds are valuable. I'm gonna save them for next season. So this, I'm waiting on the bulbs to come in the mail. I just ordered them. That's gonna be really cool. It's expansion for sure for in here, and then once that's hanging, that'll be a big area to grow stuff under on a table. And I'll build the do seed starts up here in the kitchen while I'm just living, and then under here where I'll do the herbs. That'll be really sweet. That's what I'm thinking. I'll knock that out right there, these 2, 3 ends, and then I'll open up even more. Then get this wood that's back there as a shelving out of the way. Yeah, that's called proper usage of your cupboards. Trellises, I'm gonna hang these up tonight. I got cucumbers all to grow onto these. I gotta get a couple pieces of wood and put them on the wall, just with a couple slips of 2x4s. That's all that holds them, and then I could drill through the 2x4s, a couple holes. And it's just held back with zip ties and the board. And then look how much is growing on there. I think that's all just one plant, if I'm not mistaken here. That's funny because I got 3 plants in this one and then 3 in that one. It might be too many. Maybe I should cut one out of each of those and feed it to the rabbits. But I got here is 3 more, so I'll go ahead and do that. Actually, I think 3 is too many, so I'll cut one out and leave 2 in there. Feed it to the rabbits, feed everything, no waste, ever. These buckets here are 5-gallon buckets full of chicken feed, for the most part. I've got some that are full of lentils and rice, beans and flowers, but I'm using them. I haven't yet bought another 2,000-pound tote of chicken feed. I have like 100 of these things that I've trucked away for long-term storage. And I've cycled through maybe 10 of them in the past month here or so. I've been cracking into them. And I'm reusing them for the maggot buckets. So it's like they're upgrading and converting into an even more regenerative and sustainable well, resource. So it's going from the feed, which was good, to now indefinitely producing maggots, which is feeding the chickens and the ducks. And also water filtration systems. So as I go through them and use them to wean my animals off of the feed that I stored up for them, they will be repurposed into a whole new method and something even more sustainable. Water and the free food with me adding, a carcass, scraps, any kind of wild dead anything you find. It goes right into the maggot bucket. And the maggots are for chicken feed. I bet you they will get the chickens and the ducks super fatty. The ducks, I got the Muscovies on the way. Muscovy eggs. So I'm going to have to hatch out the eggs. And that's going to be brilliant. I got a little 12 egg incubator. It's a good one. And it's just enough, and it rotates the eggs for me. Hatch out 12 eggs of any kind. So if I get chicken eggs or duck eggs going forward, but the Muscovies should take care of their own eggs, and the Muscovies are ones that I really want to hatch out my own, more so than the chickens. I got white meat with the rabbits, which is even cleaner than white meat. It's like a pink meat. It's really, really much nicer, and if the rabbits are grown, they got a lot of more fat than if they're just juvenile or young still. They really don't have any. It's hard to get any fat, but if you let them get fat and grow up, the rabbits will have that, and that's valuable. It's good for your brain. The way it's done is you lay like an inch or two of straw or wood chips there at the base, and then you layer in the meat to rot, and the vegetable scraps and whatever that, flies will go in and lay their eggs, and then the maggots will come out. And then you can top it with another thin layer of straw or wood chips to cap it in the bucket and hold down some of that smell is a lot of the idea of that. And then you put the lid on and then hang them. Or even prop them up on a log or on some rocks, and then the chickens and the ducks could go and peck at them.